Trump versus the Pan-African Americans' logic. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. It's horrible. The plan for the ultra-rich. Starting in 2029, those making $30,000 a year or less would see a tax increase, while the top 0.1% would get a $309,000 tax cut. On average, an annual tax break that is more than 3 times what the average American household earns in an entire year. The tax cut for the ultra-rich is permanent. Tax cuts for the ultra-rich, including the extensions and new provisions, will cost the American economy $2.7 trillion over a 10-year period. That ordinary American will ultimately pay the price for the ultra-rich. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horror, for example, puts 686,000 Californian jobs at risk through the elimination of the Inflation Reduction Act clean energy tax credits. North America's building trade union, the NABTU, says that if enacted, this stands to be the biggest job-killing bill in the history of the United States of America. Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. Roughly 17 million Americans will lose coverage and become uninsured by 2034 due to various Medicaid reduction and exclusions of enhanced premium subsidies. Cuts to food assistance for more than 3 million Americans in need of quality nutrition and food. It also establishes a tax hike for parents who pay for childcare. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors significantly cuts critical family support programs, more than $28.4 billion slashed in federal Medicaid funding to California alone, increasing gaps and jeopardizing health care providers' ability to keep their doors open. More than 11 million newly uninsured for health care nationally as a result of the big, beautiful bill of horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big, beautiful bill of horrors unjustly targets American students, takes away college access for millions of children by limiting families' ability to access financial aid for college, including Pell Grants, betrays student loan borrowers by ending student loan deferment for borrowers who experience job loss or other financial hardships, and forbids any future student loan forgiveness programs. The Bill of Horrors. The Bill of Horrors. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump versus the Pan-African Americans' logic. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. It's horrible. The plan for the ultra-rich. Starting in 2029, those making $30,000 a year or less would see a tax increase, while the top 0.1% would get a $309,000 tax cut. On average, an annual tax break that is more than 3 times what the average American household earns in an entire year. The tax cut for the ultra-rich is permanent. Tax cuts for the ultra-rich, including the extensions and new provisions, will cost the American economy $2.7 trillion over a 10-year period. That's ordinary Americans will ultimately pay the price for the ultra-rich. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors, for example, puts 686,000 Californian jobs at risk through the elimination of the Inflation Reduction Act clean energy tax credits. North America's building trade union, the NABTU, says that if enacted, this stands to be the biggest job-killing bill in the history of the United States of America. Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. Roughly 17 million Americans will lose coverage and become uninsured by 2034 due to various Medicaid reduction and exclusions of enhanced premium subsidies. Cuts to food assistance for more than 3 million Americans in need of quality nutrition and food. It also establishes a tax hike for parents who pay for childcare. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors significantly cuts critical family support programs, more than $28.4 billion slashed in federal Medicaid funding to California alone, increasing medical debt and jeopardizing health care providers' ability to keep their doors open. More than 11 million newly uninsured for health care nationally as a result of the big, beautiful bill of horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big, beautiful bill of horrors unjustly targets American students, takes away college access for millions of children by limiting families' ability to access financial aid for college, including Pell Grants, betrays student loan borrowers by ending student loan deferment for borrowers who experience job loss or other financial hardships, and forbids any future student loan forgiveness programs. The Bill of Horrors. The Bill of Horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump versus the Pan-African Americans' logic. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. It's horrible. The plan for the ultra-rich. Starting in 2029, those making $30,000 a year or less would see a tax increase, while the top 0.1% would get a $309,000 tax cut. On average, an annual tax break that is more than 3 times what the average American household earns in an entire year. The tax cut for the ultra-rich is permanent. Tax cuts for the ultra-rich, including the extensions and new provisions, will cost the American economy $2.7 trillion over a 10-year period. That ordinary Americans will ultimately pay the price for the ultra-rich. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors, for example, puts 686,000 Californian jobs at risk through the elimination of the Inflation Reduction Act clean energy tax credits. North America's building trade union, the NABTU, says that if enacted, this stands to be the biggest job-killing bill in the history of the United States of America. Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. Roughly 17 million Americans will lose coverage and become uninsured by 2034 due to various Medicaid reduction and exclusions of enhanced premium subsidies. Cuts to food assistance for more than 3 million Americans in need of quality nutrition and food. It also establishes a tax hike for parents who pay for childcare. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors significantly cuts critical family support programs, more than $28.4 billion slashed in federal Medicaid funding to California alone, increasing medical debt and jeopardizing health care providers' ability to keep their doors open. More than 11 million newly uninsured for health care nationally as a result of the big, beautiful bill of horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big, beautiful bill of horrors unjustly targets American students, takes away college access for millions of children by limiting families' ability to access financial aid for college, including Pell Grants, betrays student loan borrowers by ending student loan deferment for borrowers who experience job loss or other financial hardships, and forbids any future student loan forgiveness programs. The Bill of Horrors. The Bill of Horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump. And there you have it. There you have it. The big, beautiful bill. Of horrors. Oh, I've been studying this bill. The impact it will have on Americans, most certainly African Americans, will be quite profound. I don't understand why we're not discussing it, its implications. But this podcast, this show, we will most certainly do just that. We will look at this bill, its implication for America, and its implication for African Americans, and indeed Africans worldwide. It will be profound, because the impact it has on African Americans will be the same. I say again, it will be the same on all peoples that make up the United States of America. Give us 45 minutes, and we're going to have this hot interview. And I'm assuring you, it will be hot, because the facts and figures are so profound, so deep and long-lasting. I really don't understand why Americans are discussing Epstein and not the implication that this bill will have for themselves, their families, their networks, and the wider communities. It is profound. And this is what you expect if you elect a person who's been indicted 34 times, bankrupt 6 times, and has multiple court hearings. Huh. Anyway, we'll come back to that later on. Today's show, the Motivator Show, because this is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. How you feeling, people? How you feeling? I'm feeling fantastic, alive, truly alive. Oh yeah, truly alive. Now it's time for us to do a further review of past shows, a very quick review. We've had, and we've been privileged to have quite a few truly inspired human beings. It's not their ethnicity that matters, it's simply their spirit, their energy, their verb, their desire to do good for themselves, their families, and the wider communities, their sense of belief in the human spirit, yeah? That we work together, we grow together. In unity is strength. Yeah? Understanding, of course, that those courageous people, those who are afraid but still go forward, those courageous people need to be supported because together we can make the difference. Remember what King Kabbalah said of the African Continental Unity Party, that we are all change makers. We all take responsibility. We do not rely upon a single person to effect the changes we want to improve ourselves, our families, and our wider communities. We are all responsible. We are all change makers. Hold your neighbor's hand if you are uncertain. Feel their energy, feel their strength, their confidence to help you to be as confident, to feel as strong in yourselves. When I see United States of America as a great deal of negative propaganda, divide and rule, yeah? Divide and rule, either by education or ethnicity, yeah? Either by social class or indeed job positions. Divide and rule. It's perpetual, consistent. And I say to the people of the United States of America, it is time for change. Yeah, it is time for change. But that change will come at a price. It will not be easy. Yeah, it will not be easy. Having read this past bill and the number of bills that's gone through Congress, okay, I am terrified for the United States of America. I am terrified for your country. This is why this podcast is devoted to the United States of America. Give us 40 minutes and we'll focus on you entirely. But between now and then, there are a few announcements I want to make, and I know you would appreciate, because this is the Motivator Show. This is where we have a moral duty to share with you public messages that we hope will support you, help you in your daily endeavors. That's the purpose of these podcasts, to help and assist, to support, to advise and guide wherever possible. And I hope you'll enjoy the experience and share the experience with others. And if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't given us a like, don't leave this show, don't leave this podcast unless you've given us the thumbs up, made a comment in the comment area, or at the very least subscribe. It's free. There are a few things as well. It's free to subscribe, and that tells the YouTube algorithm in particular that there's interest in the podcast, and it will push the transmission to the billions of other users of the YouTube platform to help us to spread the word. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. Thank you. So the Motivator Show is devoted to supporting you. And we've had, and I know you would agree, some outstanding guests only in the first half of this year. Truly outstanding. And I'm incredibly honored on the number of people who have arrived here. And what they've demonstrated, if I may say this, is that the human spirit is indomitable, it is strong, it is powerful. These are ordinary people, yep? Not the rich and powerful who use their money to rule their will. These are just ordinary people who believe in themselves, who love and have families and are caring for those families, and recognize the care for those families doesn't mean that you care for those immediate family. You care for families within your neighborhood. You care for families within your cities. You care for families within your countries. And together we'll make the difference. Praise Jah. Oh yeah. It is logical. It is perfectly logical. And it's that propaganda that seeks to take that vision away from you. So you feel depressed, you feel downcast, you feel powerless, you feel as if it's not possible to effect change. But actually, it's a lie. Of course you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. And together, we'll change the world to be a better place in our vision. It will be a better place. Do not be downcast, because together we will make the difference. In unity is strength. Yes, we're fired today. We're fired up today. So what I want to do is just quickly canter through a few of my more recent guests, and I know you would appreciate what I'm about to say. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to Nana of the Access UK. And this is one of Britain's leading African-focused employment agency. Why do I say African-focused employment agency as if it's biased? No. It's recognizing specific issues within the African communities here in Britain that has to be addressed. And Give It Light is to help Britain become a far more energetic, dynamic, prosperous nations. If you can solve the problems of the individuals, specific communities, you solve the problem of the whole communities, because we all benefit from the resolution of issues. And together we make the difference. I want to give a big shout out to him. Outstanding young man, and his demonstration what it takes to build a nation. Well done, Access UK. Keep up the good works. Keep up the good works. I also want to recognize that outstanding human being, Anthony Brown, a Windrush pioneer and campaigner, the campaigner for the Windrush Act. So those who have been disenfranchised by acts of parliament, I note, not by an agency, the Home Office, but by acts of parliament, and their identities, their nationality was taken away from them by an independent report recognizing was racist actions by parliament. Profound, huh? The mother of parliaments behaving in such a manner, and for legislation to be passed and approved by the monarch, because all laws in Britain must be signed by the monarch before it goes into law. And the monarch is the monarch for many countries that were directly affected. And I wonder, where are these checks and balances? Where are these questions being asked about the efficacy of British legislation? The same needs to happen in the United States of America, I might add. It is profound and profoundly disappointing. But I'm confident that the new Labour government has seek and will desire change. And all the promises that this new Labour government has indicated have been implemented or in the process of being implemented, as you will see in that particular podcast. And you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to it at the end of this podcast, but go to my YouTube channel, The Motivator Show, and you'll see Towards the Windrush Act Progress Update. Anthony Brown. Thank you, Anthony. And all of you, all those involved in the Windrush campaigns. Yeah, Nicola, thank you. Keep up the good works. Keep up the good work. It is outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Another inspired guest here on The Motivator Show. I also now want to remind you of an important show that I have. And this is important for us men. A show which focused on African sisters discuss relationships and marriage. Arguably, over the past 50 years or so, men's traditional attitude and role fundamentally remain the same. It is women, in many ways, who have changed, who evolved, as it were. Okay. We need to understand the change and evolution that has taken place as men, okay, so that we can properly accord and align ourselves with our women. Vitally important. Yeah, I believe, I'm asserting this hypothesis that in fact, the reason for the significant drop in birth rate and relationships is because of the lack of understanding and the disconnect between males and females worldwide, not just the United States of America or here in Britain or the Caribbean or Africa, or maybe not so much Africa, but certainly in parts of Africa. Yeah, and of course, the Far East, from our context, China, Japan, and so on, and Korea, where there have been significant drops in birth rates. Notwithstanding the cost of living, which is certainly a feature of the current capitalist system that we have, which clearly is failing families. Clearly, it's self-evident. So therefore, change is required. Yeah? It will be unsettling for some will resist it, but there's no doubt about that. But a society, a civilization that doesn't hold the family at its very center, its very core, it's a civilization that's on its terminal decline. Which is why, of course, this big, beautiful bill, full of so many horrors, it clearly works against the interest of families in the United States of America. Oh yeah. But that particular show, and there are a series of 6, I have to tell you, we're a podcast, okay, provides interesting insight to the thinking of women, their attitude across a range of key issues that impact society today. We need to listen carefully to the views and attitudes of women. Vitally important, vitally important. And I know you would appreciate that one. I know you would appreciate that one. But I also now want to give light, before I go to the next segment of my show, to the African Continental Unity Party. Okay. Yes, the grand title. Okay. I want to give thumbs up to King Kabbalah, okay, who appeared here on this podcast. And it was truly an inspired presentation. The spread of Pan-Africanism across the African continent is an essential component to unifying the continent, to re-heal, to part that healing process. I know there's many resistance from powers outside the continent and some inside the continent. That is true. But there's no other way forward. So I want to give a big thumbs up to Burkina Faso, to President Ibrahim Traoré, who clearly is a mantle upon which we all can rest upon. But as King Kabbalah noted, we must not fall into the trap of the Masonic leadership structures. We're all responsible. We're all responsible for the growth that is inevitably occurring in Africa. the growth area for the 20 and 21st, 22nd century will be in Africa. Yeah, that's where the growth, economic growth will take place. Yeah. We're all responsible to ensure that growth takes place. Not one person, but even most certainly is a interesting mantle around which to rally around, most certainly. But we are all responsible. We mustn't put all the pressure on one person. But we look forward here at the Motivator Show to going and visiting Burkina Faso. Really get a feel for that land, the land of the upright men, yeah, the incorruptible men, a place where they focus and understand the importance of unity, because in unity is strength. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And in doing so, yep, in doing so, we transform the world. I say again, it may sound grandiose, but actually it is. Be grandiose. Together, we transform the world. If in doubt, ask questions, I say to you all. If in doubt, ask questions. And if you are in doubt, okay, ask questions and speak to others. Yeah, just speak to others. Just speak to others. If you want to join us to visit Burkina Faso, we'll be guest of honors. We'll meet important people. We'll see the opportunities in that great country. Okay, join us. Join us. Why not? Join us. There you are. We're going on the 26th of January to the 9th of February. We'll visit Burkina Faso. Okay, and if you wish to attend, come with, accompany us. Okay, we intend to take 500 visitors with us. The email address to accompany us is this: the future is Burkina Faso at outlook.com. I say again, the future is Burkina Faso at outlook.com. There it is on the screen, okay? And those who wish to join us, you're most welcome, okay? Please send a message through that email address, okay? What we need is simply, at this stage, your name, confirmation you're interested to attend, a telephone number, and of course, we'll have your email address, and we'll take it from there, okay? It will be an important step forward. It will be fully documented here on The Motivator Show. Every part of that country and its opportunity will be highlighted. I want to commend the Burkina Bay communities here in Britain and Europe and thank them for their continued support. I'll be in touch very soon. There you go. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. There are other announcements, but those are just a few, and there's much more where that came from. If you've not been watching our series of podcasts, go to our YouTube channel. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, I wish to urge you to do so. And that will simply help us to spread the word, okay? Help us to spread the word. If in doubt, ask questions, okay? If in doubt, ask questions. There you are. Spread the word. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Next segment is, of course, the public segment. The public segment means, of course, public health segment. We must take care of you so that we can take care of each other. And together we'll transform the world. Okay. It is very disturbing, both here in Europe, Britain, the Caribbean, parts of Africa, and most certainly the United States of America. There are worrying health trends that we must address, we must discuss, we must consider the implications for us and the wider communities. Okay. Why so? Because the health of the nation, okay, is not just the responsibility of the leadership, it is the responsibility of all that are part of that nation. Okay. I say again, the health of the nation is not just the responsibility of the leadership, it's also the responsibility of each of us, every citizen of that nation, to take responsibility for our health and well-being, to take deliberate action to ensure our health and well-being. So I'm here, the motivator, contribute to that process, to stimulate that discussion and to hopefully, he says, to change action, to translate words into action, because success is ours for the taking. Yes, it is true. These are not idle words. These are not idle words. So I want you to listen, not to me, but to a man who's devoted his entire life to public health. Listen to the professor, Professor Kevin Fenton, the Public Health Director for London, here in Britain. Okay? Observe, note his advice and guidance. Professor Kevin Fenton says, I'm a public health director. Here are 5 things you can do to improve your health. 1. Mindful and balanced eating. Nourish wisely. Eat whole, balanced meals with awareness to support energy and well-being. 2. Get outside. Be with nature. Time outside reduces stress, improves mood, and strengthens your connection to the world. 3. Stay curious, stay engaged, explore new interests, keep your mind sharp, build social contacts, and boost your happiness. 4. Get active, move it or lose it. Move daily, lift weight, and do cardio. Exercise, improve physical, mental, mood, and energy. 5. Prioritize rest and sleep. Disconnect, rest. Quality sleep supports mental clarity, emotional balance, and overall health. And the truth shall set us free. That is the advice of Professor Kevin Fenton, the Public Health Director for London. Common sense advice. And those of you who go to our YouTube channel, just replay it again and again so you assimilate his advice as part of your consciousness, so you're able to act it out as part of your behavior. Just keep repeating it again and again and again. It's common sense advice. It's difficult advice to take if you develop poor habits. I've got some poor habits myself. But your health is your highest wealth. And together we can transform the world. That's you've got to believe. And in doing so, you're inspired. Once you're inspired, you're motivated. Once you're motivated, your actions therefore reflect that level of motivation. And what I'm heartened by is the numbers of you who've heard these messages and have responded. And have organized yourselves around your families, your friends, your network, and hired halls and coming together and exercise together and living up to the testament that your health is your highest wealth. And it's relatively cheap to maintain a healthy lifestyle. It is relatively cheap. It just requires your consciousness. If that's the price, I say to you, it is a price worth paying. Okay? If in doubt, ask questions. I want you to watch these groups of people who've come together in common aim and common purpose and have chosen to stay healthy, both in terms of their fitness, their nutrition, and taking care of their mental health. They've come together in common aim and common purpose. Oh yes. Oh yes. Now you got to get up now. You got to get up. Come on, get up now. Let's shake those legs. Get up, get up. There you go. Now. Yeah, bend your knees now. Bend your knees. Come on, come on. Yes. They've come together in common aim, in common purpose, understanding their health is their highest. Hope you're not sitting down. Get up. A little bit of exercise is going to help you a great deal. Oh, come on now. Come on. Stretch those arms. Stretch those arms. Yes. That's the way to do it. It's only a minute. We're going to do this for a minute or so. Come on, you can do it. You can do this. I know you were not expecting this, but come on, let's participate. Let's mean what we say and do what we say. Come on, it's a few minutes exercise. That's right, there you go. Up and down, stretch those arms, yes. Move those hips. Oh yes. Ah, yes, come on. Yep, they're big and they're small, yep. I see even children in the room. Children are in the room. And it's a positive step forward. Yep, you're inculcating those children. Exercise is good. It becomes part of their habit they take into their adulthood. And long may they live a long, healthy life as a result. Yep, that's what we parents do. Come on, come on. Stand up, both you're standing up now. Just bend those knees again. Come on. Hey, the children are trying. Oh yes. Oh yes. Come on, join them. They're certainly doing their thing, aren't they? Oh my gosh. Can't keep a good man or woman down once they're clear on their purpose. What's your purpose? Come on. What is your purpose? Oh yeah. There you are. There you are. Can you do this? Come on. Come on. Another 30 seconds. And we'll fulfill the mandate of the Motivator Show. Oh yes. And then continue to stretch those legs. Push those arms. They're making a great deal of difference to their own health and well-being. We have to take care of you. We're not here just for entertainment. There's Ishmael. Go on, Ishmael. You encourage them. Think about their physical health, their mental health, their spiritual health. Absolutely. I think you would agree with me. That was good, huh? And I hope you spent at least 30 seconds stretching your body, if only for a few moments. You understand the mandate for the Motivator Show, where we translate words into action, because success is ours for the taking. And I have to say, if you are in London and you're maybe in South London and you want to meet up with this particular group, okay, they are a fantastic group of people. They meet on Mondays and Wednesdays. Yes, I'm going to give them a boost. There you go. Mondays and Wednesdays, yeah, between 6:30 to 8 p.m. Okay, they're based here in London in 12 Tatum Street in Walworth, London. And that's postcode S for sugar E17 1TN. You reach out to them by email at countdown0405 at gmail.com. And if you're in the UK, it's telephone number 07960 803 588. I've got not a problem. If you've got a local group you'd like me to give light to, happy to do so. Happy to do so. This group has most certainly demonstrated to all and sundry, that they have what it takes and they are dedicated to the cause. Okay, selfless, absolutely fantastic. If all human beings behave in this manner, our world would truly be transformed. Come together in common aim and common purpose, regardless of your education, your ethnicity, regardless of your religious affiliation, regardless of your gender. Come together in common aim and common purpose. Your health is indeed your highest wealth, and together we'll transform the world. Those small contributions become cumulative, and over time, they are outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And if you would permit me now, I want to also give light to two other issues which have become really quite important to us all. Okay. Now, the first issue I want to raise, of course, and that's the issue of the African diaspora. Okay. Why am I saying that? My own ancestors, maybe 200-300 years ago, yeah, were kidnapped, yeah, survived the Middle Passage, which was a brutal experience, and ended up in the Caribbean. Mhm. And then were sold into slavery. At that point, they were sold into slavery. And were not permitted to speak their own language, practice their culture. Mhm. Were not permitted to be upstanding men and women. They were considered as chattel, mhm, for the enslaver families or corporations. That, of course, has left a scar on Europe, the Americas, and of course the Caribbean and Africa. That scar is yet to fully heal. Yeah. There are many countries in Europe, and indeed the United States, who have yet to come to terms with their past or try to deny their past. Reparations would be a start. And that reparations, we don't mean just money. What we mean is changes to how the societies record Africa. Because it seems quite absurd. You can have the intellectuals, those who are educated here in Europe and America and other places, of course, and recognize that Africa is the cradle of civilization. Africa is the cradle of civilization. I say again, Africa is the cradle of civilization. The first civilized human beings came out of Africa. Hmm? The founding fathers and mothers of medicine, mathematics, astrology, geology, yeah, writing, yeah. But yet, the manner in which African history is taught in Europe and America and other places, you'd believe quite the opposite. Despite the fact the universities, yeah, the professors know better. So this is just, well, stupidness. Yeah. There are other words I could use, but this is YouTube. So that change, been resisted, but as we all know, that change is inevitable. Okay. I say this, of course, to note that I had a guest here who talked and discussed an important treaty to bring Africans of diaspora under a single treaty. Okay. We put it on the screen. You recall Bolante, okay? Only a few podcasts ago, who of course gave light to the Pan-African Treaty of the sixth region, the African diaspora. Okay. The treaty has been compiled by Africans right across the diaspora. Okay. It is now set. It's inviting the more than 250 million Africans who live outside of Africa, who are part of that ancestral diaspora, to sign up, become a part of something great that has some influence in Africa. Okay. Sign up, it's free. It costs you not a penny, not a cent, or whatever your local currency is. Reach out to them. And here's the email address, which is the Pan-African Treaty Diaspora. Oh, without the A at the end, you see on the screen. Pan-African Treaty, African Diaspora, without the A at the end, at gmail.com. It's there on the screen. Okay. If you watch the recording, you can therefore extract that information. I commend this initiative to you. I commend the initiative to you. It is truly a worthwhile initiative. And I've most certainly signed up myself because obviously it has made common sense. Absolutely common sense. Well done to you all, each one of you. Well done to you all. Well done. As we now move forward in preparing for the interview, I want to give light to what is for me my most inspired international journalist. Her name is Ndidi Iwechu. Okay, she's somewhat shy at times, but a genius writer. Okay. I'm going to put on the screen one of her sayings. Profound, just common sense, profound. There you go. And she says this: given the state of Nigeria, or indeed Africa, I think people haven't yet made the mental link that they are responsible for the kind of existence they hand over to their children. I want to say this again because it's pretty fundamental to the Motivator Show. Given the state of Nigeria and Africa, indeed, I think people haven't yet made the mental link that they are responsible for the kind of existence they hand over to their children. Profound, huh? But this logic applies not just, of course, to Africa. It applies here in Europe as well. It applies to the Caribbean. It applies to the Americas, North or South, Central America. It applies to Asia, to India, to Pakistan, yeah, to Japan and China, Korea, yeah, Cambodia, to Australia. The principles applies to you as well. That we are responsible for the kind of existence we hand over to our children. Which gets to the core why the Motivator Show exists. Yeah. Translate words into action. Because success is ours for the taking. In unity is strength. Regardless of your ethnicity, if you like your color, yeah, or your religious affiliation, or indeed your social class or education or your gender. In unity is strength. And together we can transform our immediate neighborhoods, our immediate cities, our countries, indeed, the world. Hold on to those thoughts called the propaganda, particularly in America, I'm seeing. It's very antithesis, they're opposite to that. They promote disempowerment of families, not what they promote. Disunity is what they promote. If I've got it wrong, I'm happy for you in the chat. If you're on YouTube, put it in the chat if I've got that wrong and that analysis is incorrect. I'd love to hear the contrary to that statement. With your evidence, of course. Mine is but an observation. What is clear to me that what happens in the United States, we must take note. There's some out there who said, well, we can forget the United States in decline. This is true. But we know about all empires in decline. They must be watched because the irrationality of their behavior, as is clear with this so-called bill that's been promoted by the 47 presidents, is clearly a testament to that irrationality. It is irrational to give the richest 0.1% an incredible tax break, tax discount, on average, £309,000, dollars each. Can you imagine a tax break? That's more 4 or 5 times the average salary of the average American. How obscene can you get? How blatantly obscene can you get? Yeah? How is that conscionable? How is it possible that the checks and balances have not intervened to prevent such a travesty? Because it is a travesty for the United States of America. But it now results over a 10-year period of a $2.7 trillion deficit to the American people, primarily borne by those on ordinary salaries, increased debt for the United States. And the American debt already exceeds $40 trillion. Yeah. In 10 years' time, I have no idea what the figure will be, but I know it will be catastrophic for Americans. What I'm not seeing is representatives of that country continuously shouting. Of course, they're shouting, but with vigor. You recall on the last American show I did, of course, I noted that there are indeed many protests occurring in cities throughout the country, but was not being reported internationally or by the national news outlet. But the local news outlet, yes, but not by the national or international news outlets. In other words, the protests were being ignored, suppressed. That information was being suppressed by the news media. Of course, the news media are controlled by that 0.1% who've benefited and are benefiting right now from that tax cut. Yeah, and it's a permanent tax cut, not a temporary one like the others. Yeah, it is permanent for the richest Americans. I'm sorry, it's obscene. It is obscene. Totally obscene. It is obscene. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to encourage my guest to join us momentarily. I'm going to encourage him to join us momentarily. In fact, let me set it up. I want my guest to join us because I think we've got a lot to discuss. Okay, a lot to discuss, and there's much to achieve. There's much to achieve. And my guest is listening. I'd encourage him now to join because I think the time is ripe for you. The time is ripe. You can connect now. I think it's time we now discuss the United States of America. Okay, we cannot ignore it. There are more than 250. Forgive me, get that right. Forgive me. There are more than 25 million Africans in the United States of America. More than that. Okay, and of course, maybe the similar number or mixed heritages. Okay, it's a country we cannot ignore. Cannot ignore. And what America does, the world needs to observe carefully. Okay? It's still the possessor of the largest military arsenal, okay? And therefore makes it, as it increases its instability, dangerous to the entire world. So we must not ignore the United States of America. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to help my guest get into the studio. And we're going to get this show on the road. If I help him get in, then we can get this discussion underway. So I'm going to play a part of the intro video. Just bear with me for a few minutes. I'll get him into the studio and get the interview underway. But I know you would appreciate what I'm about to say, because this discussion will really get to the meat of the issue, really get to the crux of the issue, because this is part 2. And I appreciate you all that wanted this part 2. And therefore, I promised you I would do the part 2. So watch the interview video and get my guest in the studio by the time it finishes. There we go. Trump versus the Pan-African Americans' logic. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big, beautiful bill of horrors. It's horrible. The plan for the ultra-rich Starting in 2029, those making $30,000 a year or less would see a tax increase, while the top 0.1% would get a $309,000 tax cut. On average, an annual tax break that is more than 3 times what the average American household earns in an entire year. The tax cut for the ultra-rich is permanent. Tax cuts for the ultra-rich, including the extensions and new provisions, will cost the American economy $2.7 trillion over a 10-year period. That's ordinary Americans will ultimately pay the price for the ultra-rich. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors, for example, puts 686,000 Californian jobs at risk through the elimination of the Inflation Reduction Act clean energy tax credits. North America's building trade union, the NABTU, says that if enacted, this stands to be the biggest job-killing bill in the history of the United States of America. Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. Roughly 17 million Americans will lose coverage and become uninsured by 2034 due to various Medicaid reduction and exclusions of enhanced premium subsidies. Cuts to food assistance for more than 3 million Americans in need of quality nutrition and food. It also establishes a tax hike for parents who pay for childcare. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors significantly cuts critical family support programs, more than $28.4 billion slashed in federal Medicaid funding to California alone, increasing medical debt and jeopardizing health care providers' ability to keep their doors open. More than 11 million newly uninsured for health care nationally as a result of the big, beautiful bill of horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big, beautiful bill of horrors unjustly targets American students, takes away college access for millions of children by limiting families' ability to access financial aid for college, including Pell Grants, betrays student loan borrowers by ending student loan deferment for borrowers who experience job loss or other financial hardships, and forbids any future student loan forgiveness programs. The Bill of Horrors. The Bill of Horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump versus the Pan-African Americans' logic. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. It's horrible! The plan for the ultra-rich. Starting in 2029, those making $30,000 a year or less would see a tax increase, while the top 0.1% would get a $309,000 tax cut. On average, an annual tax break that is more than 3 times what the average American household earns in an entire year. The tax cut for the ultra-rich is permanent. Tax cuts for the ultra-rich, including the extensions and new provisions, will cost the American economy $2.7 trillion over a 10-year period. That's ordinary Americans will ultimately pay the price for the ultra-rich. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible! It's horrible! It's horrible!
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors, for example, puts 686,000 Californian jobs at risk through the elimination of the Inflation Reduction Act's clean energy tax credits. North America's building trade union, the NABTU, says that if enacted, this stands to be the biggest job-killing bill in the history of the United States of America. Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. Roughly 17 million Americans will lose coverage and become uninsured by 2034 due to various Medicaid reduction and exclusions of enhanced premium subsidies. Cuts to food assistance for more than 3 million Americans in need of quality nutrition and food. It also establishes a tax hike for parents who pay for childcare. All righty, okay, this is live, of course, so my American cousins are sorting themselves out. This is live, okay, this is live, don't you worry. There's no real interference other than preparation. But the intro video, of course, gives you an insight into the banality of the so-called big, beautiful bill. I go on to say, of course, of horrors. For ordinary Americans, middle-class Americans, okay, this bill is a wealth transfer from ordinary Americans to the richest Americans. That's what it is, in effect, a wealth transfer from ordinary Americans on average salaries, or thereabout, a little higher, to the richest Americans. The banality of the bill is so profound that we could not ignore it. Its impact on the American national debt is also profound and will have consequences for the world. Yeah, it will have consequences for the world. Okay, and I'd say to all of you, those of you who consider yourself to be free-thinking Americans, and I've got no problem with the bill, I wonder if you've actually read it, okay? I wonder if you've actually read it. I have taken the time to read the bill, okay? So my guest has arrived, so we're going to get this show underway now, because this will be truly an inspirational experience. And first we'll just bring him into this feed. Oh, good morning, sir. Good morning. Can you hear us all right? Okay, let me do it again. I'd say again. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Can you hear us all right?
Good morning.
Okay.
Brother Martin, how you doing?
I'm well. I'm going to ask you, please, you need to keep your camera steady. I think you're shaking around there. Here you are. Okay, there you are.
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to log on my laptop because for whatever reason,
It's not doing
Uh,
so. Go away. Oh, away. Are you able to
right.
put the
So right
phone
now I'm
down so
really
we?
on my phone.
Okay. Are you phone down so we? You're shaking a bit at the moment.
Yeah. I'll
See what you can do.
let me see if I can put it in a
Wonderful.
position. Sorry about that.
Ah, that's better. Yes,
Uh,
that's better. There you go. Perfect. That's perfect, sir. It is good to speak to you again, Stephen. Okay. First of all, how is it in United
well,
States of
I'm honored.
America? You laughed.
Well, yesterday, yeah, yesterday was the first day that we could actually not use the air conditioning.
Oh
For
wow.
the past previous 4 days, we've had temperatures, as the song says, 96 degrees in the shade.
Oh wow. I recall the song.
Right. And the real feel temperature was between 100 and let's say 105. Last week we got up to about 112 real feel temperature,
Wow.
and that's Fahrenheit.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
What about in your neck of the woods?
Yes. And we're going to touch on that subject because I see that this big, beautiful bill results in significant cuts to federal agencies, either to respond to emergencies or indeed, to support the transition from fossil fuels to sustainable energy sources. It is quite astonishing. It is quite astonishing. And that's why this interview with yourself is so important. Okay, so important. Can I ask you, please, Stephen, just to start off? So the bill has been signed by the president. I believe that's correct.
Well, okay. What? Just a brief history. He
Please, yes.
basically started this by passing a whole bunch of executive orders beginning on day one. And he basically was bypassing Congress, which is the second branch of government, and also the judiciary, which is the third branch of government. So he knew that he really couldn't put it into law, say, as a permanent thing. So he basically passed these executive orders whereby these cuts were being made and everything else. He needed congressional approval. He went and he got that. Congressional approval, meaning the state and the Senate and the House of Representatives. Then he also had to get it cleared by the judiciary, which is the Supreme Court. When he tried putting these things in locally, he was getting a lot of pushback. And since since he controls the Supreme Court, meaning he put his people in there, so that he now has a majority. When these things are brought before the Supreme Court, they basically just rubber stamp what he does. He's gotten some pushback from the Supreme Court as well, but in the long run, they basically folded on most of the things, as long as it did not say interfere with the Constitution per se.
Okay. Yep.
Then it's like, like you thought, well, maybe they would stand up, but in some instances, the Supreme Court did not do the responsibility. They just went
In other
along
words, the
with him.
checks and balances, usual checks and balances, did not cut in this time. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah.
with FEMA, which is a federal emergency
Yeah.
agency, which is
Yes.
the
Yes.
federal agency responsible for reaching out when there are disasters, uh, that is like a big what to do about it, because the person that he put in charge of that said that no funds will be approved without her like approval. And I forgot how much it was, but it's about I think, either $250,000 dollars or so.
Right.
Now, in disasters, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars sometimes.
Yes.
So if he's not even asking for the budget to be $1 million, it just goes to show. And then when the floods hit in Texas, she did not even give her approval to say put boots on the ground
Oh my gosh.
to help those people whose homes were destroyed, whose cars were floating down the street as though it was a boat in a river or lake or something like that.
Right.
Until 3 days after the storms hit.
Right. Wow.
So, like you're talking about 3 days of no federal money, like really being spent to assist people who were in dire need because they're now homeless.
Right. Well, can I just check then that case? And because I must say, I was looking into this. It made no sense that FEMA, which has this specific responsibility, has approved over the past 4 years, 2 years, more than $4.5 billion worth of specific support for the state, etc. But this bill effectively removes that money, in other words, that capacity within FEMA. But yet, around FEMA, the numbers of natural disasters have increased. You're laughing again. I'm trying to understand the rationale. Okay, how is it possible that a person who has responsibility in FEMA could see these natural disasters, see the impact it's having on the American economy, and not see it as being their duty, therefore, to intervene? Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. And how it is that the national and international news media are not actually reporting on this in the manner which I expect. In fact, if I may, I'm going to play a short video just to show some of the floods. Okay, let me watch this. There we go.
After 8 on Sunday.
You can see it. And this is only a few weeks ago in Texas, of all places. Yeah, dry Texas. It just boggles the mind. It just boggles the mind. Look at that. In dry Texas. Yep. Only a few weeks ago. Only a few weeks ago. And you're telling me that FEMA did not...
Just over a week after...
They did not intervene.
Until 3 days later.
Wow. I find that mind-boggling. Mind-boggling, yes.
Well, you see, you have to be careful with your language because English is a very
I'm on the other side of the pond. There you go.
language. And since we're speaking where your language, where our language originated on the other side of the pond, Brother Martin, it makes a lot of sense.
Wow.
Because it's a lot of nonsense. Because, you see, if the leader says that there's no such thing as climate change because it's a Chinese invention, it's a hoax.
Right.
And then you take someone who does not have any experience in emergency relief, but put them there because they were one of your staunch supporters. So you rewarded them by putting an inept and incompetent person to head up the organization that is supposed to be relieving the citizenry, the people of the nation,
yes,
when they are in dire straits. All you're going to end up with is incompetence.
But Stephen, if I may, I'm going to show you. This is New Mexico this time, and I've found these videos right across the country, but most certainly in the southern states. Those so-called red states. Here we go. Watch this one. This one brings it home to you. This is in New Mexico again, dry New Mexico. And here you see the water rising inside what was a store, apparently. Okay. And the reason for playing this particular video is so that it's clear to the audience the impact rising sea levels can have on your home, on your villages, your towns, and your cities. The power of water as the ice continues to melt because of the rising temperatures. This can happen most certainly in most of the southern states, and indeed some of the northern states of the United States of America. This one really does bring it home to you, because this is inside a building. You can see the water levels rising and these heavy furniture being moved by the water. It is truly, if you wanted an example of why we need to think about what we do as individuals to contribute to climate change, this video brings it home to us all. There you go. It does bring it home to us all. Mm-hmm.
Let's say that's the living room of your viewers right now.
Indeed.
Right. The folks who are logging on to the Demotivator show, while we're doing this interview, imagine all of a sudden you see water coming in and filling up your home.
Yes.
And to the point whereby in a matter of less than half an hour,
yes,
the water rises so high,
yes,
that it's outside your window,
yes,
going up to the second floor, going up to the ceiling of the home that you live in.
yes.
Put yourself in that position. How are you going to get out? If you got out, you have the floods to deal with.
That's right.
If the water is washing away cars, what chance do you think you have of surviving if you were to step out of your home just to try to save your life?
Yes. Which is why, of course, you need the agencies such as FEMA to be fully funded and prepared to respond when such a disaster befalls your family, your villages, your towns, your cities. Why
Just
would the
imagine
president approve cutting funding to FEMA? There we are. We're two Pan-Africanists now. We're trying to analyze this. You're laughing again. We're trying to analyze this. This is the whole purpose of this particular podcast for Pan-Africanist Americans, to look at this, look at the bill, and consider its implication, not only for the African community, most certainly, but for all communities in the United States. The logic failed me at the moment. I do not understand how you would cut funding for an essential service such as FEMA. It makes no sense. Politics aside, it simply makes no sense. The evidence is abundance that fossil fuels, in other words, coal, oil, gas, have made a significant contribution to increasing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which is contributing to climate change, heating up of the background environment to a level that the ice in the Arctic is melting at a rate not seen in living memory, causing sea levels to rise. And we're now seeing the impact in the United States of America. I've got a video here showing increased numbers of tornadoes, for example. Terrifying experience. There's abundant evidence for every American, regardless of what the 47th president might assert, that climate change is real. It's real. If I may, Stephen, I want to take you on to some of these cuts, and some of the cuts I've noted are really quite profound. Okay.
If you're so technically inclined, what about pulling up like a third screen so folks could get an idea as to what you're talking about while we talk about it?
Okay, you prefer to see the well, I can and I will do so. I will do so. I'll put it on the screen momentarily. I'll put it on the screen. But I want to just address the first of the issue. Let's keep on this particular track, and that's of course those agencies that promote the transition from fossil fuels to sustainable energy sources. Okay. Now, I don't understand why both the 47th president and indeed the Republican Party would continue the tax breaks for oil companies and gas companies and shell companies, okay, worth hundreds of billions of dollars a year, but reduce to almost zero subsidies for sustainable energy sources such as wind power, solar panels, or indeed electric cars. Tell us about politics in America that would result in that, what apparently, and I'm but a layperson, but I'm going to use this term, backward mentality. How can politics in America be so backward and go against what every international agency who've looked at this subject have asserted, that all countries of the world need to embark on a transition away from fossil fuels? Tell us about the politics there that would result in this president, the 47th president, and the Republican Party promoting policies that go against the interest not only of America, but of humankind. Tell us about your politics.
Well, part of the
Not too
answer
much
to your
pressure now, is there?
question, part of the answer to your question, Brother Martin, is drill, baby, drill.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Another part of the answer is you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yes.
Another part of the
Explain that
is,
for the international audience, because I know what you mean, but just so that they understand what you mean by that.
you know, he who pays the piper calls the tune.
That sounds like corruption on a grand scale. Political corruption, is it not?
That's putting it mildly. You're being very diplomatic, and I see you're very careful not to be raw in your description of things. Brother Martin, when you have the person who is responsible for you signing your getting your checks,
Yes.
you do not go up against that person, especially if that person is the head of national security.
Yep.
And they have all of your files.
Yes.
We have seen religious leaders who, one gentleman, for example, he was returning from vacation, and on the tarmac, after disembarking from the plane, his lover felt like insulted based on what this religious leader was saying, that his lover, the preacher's lover, revealed that the two of them just came from a romantic vacation.
All right. Okay.
And the person who said that was a man.
Right. Okay.
So now you have someone who is preaching about the virtues, the Bible. They are homophobic.
Okay.
But yet they're leading a homophobic lifestyle.
Right.
Yes. And the same way that preacher lost his congregation when it was learned that he was indeed engaging in that lifestyle,
Okay.
his career was gone.
Okay.
This is the same situation with some of these elected officials, because the man who runs the country has their files. He
Right.
knows who's engaged in extramarital activities.
In other words, all the
Who
secrets are known. In other words, all the secrets are known. All right, I get that.
Now,
I get that.
you either do as I say, or these files will be released, and then you would lose your prestigious position. You would lose the
Yes.
power that you have. You would lose your sweet salary. You would lose the
Yes.
secret service security that you have. You would
Yes.
lose the fact that you could go anywhere and have the best meals that you could even dream of, and write that off as part of your business expenditures.
Yes.
All of these things that you will be that you are enjoying,
Yes.
it will be taken away from you. So you either do as I do, or these secrets will be revealed.
Yeah.
Do you want to be in placed in that position?
Right.
So now, why would you give up a sweet job like that? Not to mention that once those files are revealed, it will be difficult for you to be employed anywhere where you
Anywhere
can
else?
make some
Yeah.
good money,
Yeah.
because your reputation would have been destroyed. So
Yes.
if a person is in a position to destroy you and your reputation, and they saying, look, either kiss my ring or kiss all this stuff goodbye, you don't want to lose that.
No. All right.
So it's like the things that they are, and the sad part about it is, the people that they are hurting are the people that they are now going to want to go and campaign to.
Yes.
When people started feeling the effects of these Doge cuts, they're losing their Medicare and Medicaid benefits. The education department has been cut in half.
Yes.
They're not getting assistance in emergencies like when the way FEMA used to.
Yes.
When these people realize that what they voted for is not the services that they're getting, and they say, all right, representative, senator, come, let's sit down and talk. And they're being told by the top, don't you dare go to these meetings. Those who figured, well, okay, they could go and they will go, and they realize that they were being booed, that they were being criticized, that they were being challenged by
Yes.
thousands of people. When normally, when they went home, if they have 20 people in the offices, they have a lot of people. Now you have to respond to thousands of people filling up arenas and different places and
Right.
asking you, what the heck are you doing? And then you stand up, I support the administration, and then the people start booing you, and uh, and you have thousands of people mad at you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. I get it.
and
I
then
get it.
even though you experiencing you decide, okay, I'm not going to go to these meetings because the leadership was right. I'm not going to go to it because I can't handle it. There's no way that I can handle that I can justify anything to these people. And then when you get back to vote, you're talking about you cannot vote for that bill
Right.
the way it
Okay.
is, and
Yes.
then you turn around and vote for it anyway.
Yes. I understand. Yes, I understand. So, if I may then, Stephen, so corruption is rife in American politics. It is warped
It
by
always has
big
been.
business. Yeah?
It always has been.
Yes,
It's just
I
that
agree. I agree.
it's just
If I
that
may, I did want
you
to
see
take it
this
in a slightly different
administration.
direction. I want to take it in a slightly different direction, if I may. But I want to help the audience to appreciate the content of this bill. Okay, it's a very long and detailed bill, and I'm going to put a version of it on the screen. But I want to start first of all with some of the details I've had to study in preparation for my discussion with yourself. Okay, and you'll see some of the details contained in the intro video, which I've sort of set out the real context. So the starting point, of course, in terms of the deficit that this bill causes, is because it gives so much away to the richest 0.1% of Americans. And those people, on average, earn more than £309,000 per annum, and that's the equivalent of their tax cut they're receiving. An astonishing amount of money. Whereas the average American, their annual income is around $30,000. Over the course of this particular bill, they'll end up actually paying more in federal tax, okay, and they'll have additional expenses to cover because of the withdrawal of federal subsidies for many of the services that they rely upon. So that's the tax cut for the richest Americans result in a $2.7 trillion deficit over a 10-year period. Okay. I remain boggled, regardless of what I've described as being the corruption, obviously, in American politics, how the Republican Party could vote for such a bill. Okay. Notwithstanding their extreme right-wing credentials, it cannot be seen to be in the best interest of the United States of America to cause such a deep deficit, and that deficit to be caused by giving the richest Americans such a significant tax break. And you and I are two Pan-Africanists now. Okay, you're the Pan-African in America. Okay, we're still struggling. We're still struggling to get our head around how the Republican Party could sell that to their electorate, or indeed have the guts to pass such a bill that would cause such a significant deficit and therefore place the American economy in danger. How is that possible, Stephen? How is that possible? Now, we're speaking to you as the American Pan-Africanist. Tell us, how is that possible?
Well, if you look at what has been done to the African continent,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then you would understand what's going on in America.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, you keep asking for me to make sense out of nonsense.
Yes. Yes.
You keep asking me to put lipstick on a pig, put it in a bridal gown,
yes.
and as it passes some mud, you don't expect that pig to go and jump in the mud. You see,
All right.
it's not, you see, I keep saying that the leader is the puppet, not the puppeteer.
Indeed. Indeed.
But he sees himself as though he is the puppeteer. Because once he picks up the phone and calls these elected officials,
yes,
and put pressure on them, then they fold because they know that not only could he destroy their reputation by revealing the information that he has on them,
yes,
but he would, the people who are pulling his strings, they are also the ones that are funding the elections of these Republicans. They do it with the Democrats as well.
They do, yes, they do.
So now, when they realize that it's not just the president, but it's their main donors, the people who are donating millions of dollars for them to be elected, and they realize that these millions of dollars will go instead to someone who would run against them and would win, because not only will their reputations be destroyed, but now they don't they no longer will be receiving the funds to run for office as they did before, because those funds will be directed to their opposition.
Yes. Okay.
So when you see the puppeteers start pulling the strings, and people do not want to lose that power,
Yes.
they will do whatever it is to maintain that power.
Okay.
Look at nations like developing nations, what they call third world nations. They're putting these puppets
Yes.
who go out there and they allow external forces to come in, take their resources at
Yes.
cheap prices,
Yes. That's right.
convert it to whatever commodities that it could be converted to, sell it on the open market at multiple times what they paid for those natural resources,
Yes.
and then sometimes comes back and sells those resources to the very
Back
people where they extracted it from at multiple times the cost.
If I may at this point then, if I may, and that's why we must applaud President Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, who's now sets the scene for change in Africa. He's banned the exportation of raw materials, such as oil, such as gold, such as coal, and so on. Okay, and we only export processed materials. Okay, it must be processed so it has a higher value on the international market. I also want to give praise to the leader of Ghana, President Malema, okay, who's following in his stead. Okay, I want to acknowledge the president of Namibia. She is a woman of distinction, and it's ensured that we understand that she is following Burkina Faso, that we will no longer export raw products. Okay, it must be processed in the country, so it has a genuine value that's useful to the nation. But you are right. But let's go back to this bill, and I'm going to put on the screen shortly some of the notes I want to refer to. So, in order to pay for at least some of the debt created by giving the significant tax break to the richest Americans, which resulted in more than $2.7 trillion of debt over a 10-year period, what the 47th president and the Republican Party had to do is to take money away from those in greatest need. I can't put it in any other way. So let me give you a few examples. Okay. What this bill does, it put 686,000, in this case, Californian jobs at risk through the elimination of the Inflation Reduction Act Clean Energy Tax Credit. So the North American Building Trade Union says that if this act goes forward, it's now gone forward, it stands to be the biggest job killer bill in the history of the United States of America. Because prior to this 47th president, the United States were investing record sums into carbon, or should I say, sustainable energy sources, and of course, electric cars. Now, of course, all of that has been reversed. Yeah. So the financial incentives have been eradicated, whilst maintaining the tax breaks for oil companies, gas companies, shell companies. Yeah. And taken away the tax breaks for those companies who are promoting sustainable energy sources such as wind, wave, and solar. Okay. And taken away the tax breaks for electric cars. Now, I know the protests continue across America, but they're not being reported in your national press and indeed international press, I note. Okay. But how are they getting away with it? Why are they only talking about Epstein when in fact they really should talk about the economic impact, profound economic impact this particular bill will have on Americans generally. I'm just cited one example in California. California. Where's the opposition to it? I'm now talking to you, the Pan-Africanists based in the United States of America. Where's the opposition to this, Stephen? He
Well,
smiles
again,
again.
language. It's Epstein, believe me.
Yes.
A lot of folk would get upset if you said Stein instead of Steen, right? There's a whole political history behind that. One represents German, the other one represents the Jewish community. So,
Yes.
you don't want to, but it's Epstein, just for clarification. Elon Musk has just received, he's just gotten a contract worth $200 million for his, I think it's XAI company.
Okay.
Right. He recently received this $200 million contract from the U.S. Department of Defense.
Right.
This contract is part of a broader initiative by the Pentagon to integrate advanced AI capabilities into national security operations.
Right.
Alongside XAI, other prominent AI companies like, well, I don't want to name them, but the big boys, right?
Yes.
And OpenAI also received contracts of similar value under this program. Right. Okay. And one of these companies is one of your favorite search engines, right?
Yes.
The contract is specifically aimed at leveraging AI's technologies to develop AI workflows across various mission areas within the Defense Department.
Yes.
This includes making AI's flagship AI model Grok and its associated products available to government customers through a new initiative called Grok for Government. Right. It's important to know that this contract comes shortly after XAI faced controversy regarding offensive and anti-Semitic remarks generating by its Grok chatbot. Despite this controversy, the Department of Defense has proceeded with the contract. Highlight, and this is 200 million you're talking about, just for Elon Musk, highlighting the government's commitment to utilizing advanced AI solutions from a diverse range of developers. Now, if you convince people that AI is the way to go, that AI could replace like workers.
Yes,
and
human
then
beings.
you are
Just say human beings so that they understand what this means. Replacing human beings. Yes. Sorry,
right?
Go ahead.
So now, the same way that if you wanted to do research, you don't have to go and hire a research company. You can now do your research by searching on your favorite search engine.
Yes.
Look how cost effective that is.
Yes.
Look at look at how you could have information at your fingertips just by clicking a couple of buttons.
You can.
So if people feel that everything, the services that they're being provided, all you need to do is click a couple of keys and there it is. And you convince people of that. They're like, yeah. But when I go to the checkout line, I don't have to go to the cash register for the cashier to memorize all of those prices.
Right.
That when I buy the milk, okay, they know what the cost of milk is, they know what the cost of bread is. Absolutely. So they put in those things automatically. They don't have to do that anymore. All they do is scan the product.
That's right. That's what they do these days. Yes.
Right. So now, and when you scan the product, it also keeps your track of your inventory.
Absolutely. Yes.
So now every product that is bought, they know, okay, the store owner knows, okay, we sold 10 gallons of milk, so we need to get, and it's sold faster than before. Absolutely. So next time I'll get 20 gallons of milk.
There you go.
And the order goes in. If you could
Let's take you
convince
on now.
people,
I want to take you on that forward, because that's the use of the current technology. What's coming in the future, we don't know yet, but we know it will have a profound impact on society. And one of those impacts I did want to look at is the impact on Medicaid. Sorry. I understand that this bill will cut, this takes the state of California, $28.4 billion from Medicaid funding, and thereby increasing medical debt and jeopardizing healthcare providers' ability to keep their operations open. How could there be any justification for cutting Medicaid funding in California at the federal level by $28.4 billion? How could there be
did
any
you say,
justification for that?
did you say million?
Billion.
Oh, would it be?
Would it be? Yes, exactly. Would it be? And I checked it from 4 different sources to verify this is accurate. $28.4 billion it's been slashed over the next 10 years. It's these are figures that are outrageous, completely
Now, for your
outrageous.
for your viewing audience, what is Medicaid?
Oh, please explain that for them, please. You're the
You're
American.
providing so much information. I should be the one conducting the interview. You're the one that's spitting all this information out. You have Medicaid and you have Medicare, right? Medicaid is basically for people of low income. Mm-hmm. Medicare is basically for senior citizens, right? Mm-hmm. Getting their, whatever has to do with your health. Mm-hmm. Medicare is supposed to be providing the funding, the services, and everything else, right? Medicaid is like, let's say you low income, your salary is not exactly enviable. You may not be able to afford health services. So here mm-hmm. comes the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, who benefits most from from Obamacare other than the individuals receiving it? Mm-hmm. It's the insurance companies.
Yes.
Now, the insurance companies' stocks have gone up substantially since since Obamacare came into operation, because in order to get Medicare, you had to enroll in these insurance plans. Mm-hmm. So you had to go to the insurance companies. And what you found, what started happening once Obamacare, really, there were, I think, 2 or 3 stages. But once it got to the final stage, I could walk in to a clinic. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm just using myself as an example.
Of course. Yes, of course. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm not feeling well. I don't want to go and sit in the emergency room for about maybe 2 hours plus, maybe an entire night, because they have gunshots coming in, they have people with heart attacks, they have people with pressing issues, life-threatening issues. They're not going to come just to check on me to say, well, okay, seems like you ate something that it may be checking, like you may have food poisoning or whatever, or maybe it's the heat, you're having a heat stroke. They're not going to prioritize me. So instead of going to the emergency room, I will just go into a clinic. I could walk into this clinic.
As a result of Obamacare. Yes.
And be seen by a doctor in less than half an hour.
Wow.
And if there are not other people ahead of me, I could be seen by a doctor in 15 minutes. And that will probably cost me out of pocket, and the prices came down substantially once Obamacare took full effect.
Right.
I would probably pay like maybe $70 for that visit.
It is interesting, if I may, Steve, that of course Obamacare most certainly benefited all Americans, and most certainly African Americans. Okay, but I see one of the impact of this big, beautiful bill by the 47 presidents. Roughly 70 million people will lose coverage and become uninsured by 2034 due to the various Medicaid reductions and exclusions of enhanced premium subsidies, which I think is what you're referring to now. Now,
yeah, but you see, you have to understand the economics of it as well, because
yes,
if I could walk into a clinic right now and pay, let's say, $100,
right,
$70 to see a doctor, in some instances, depending on your salary range, you will not even receive a bill.
Wow.
Now, if you were to go to an emergency room and the hospital decides to bill you because you have no insurance, that could run into thousands of dollars.
Gosh.
After you've been sitting there for 12 hours, maybe a whole day,
yes,
waiting for somebody to finally come and see you because it's not a
and you've
life-threatening
not been
situation.
seen. You've simply not been seen, and they can
Right.
still charge
So
you.
now you're going to end up paying thousands of dollars for that hospital visit. When Obamacare, you're spending less than $100 if you pay anything at all.
Right. Thank you, Stephen.
So
Can I just take us on to the
when they cut that, what does that do to the health of the nation?
Yes,
when people
that's right.
and then it's like, well, you have to pay this bill, otherwise, because if you don't pay that hospital bill, what they're going to be doing now is, if you are employed, they're going to garnish your check, meaning every paycheck, they will be taking out a certain percentage until that bill is paid. That could be groceries for the week.
Yes. You make a good point. You make a very, very good point. And I don't understand why the richest nation in the world does not have, like we have here in Britain, a national health service, so that health is paid through your taxes as opposed through the private sector. It seemed abominable. It's got the richest country in the world. It's got the largest army and military in the world, but yet does not have a national health service. I think that is a national disgrace. National disgrace. Can I just quickly take us on? I'm just conscious of time now. About the cuts to food assistance for more than 3 million people nationwide who are in need of quality nutrition and food. Now, I've spoken to a number of Americans prior to this interview, trying to understand the impact this is likely to have. And obviously, those who require this assistance are those in greatest need. These are the poor, those in greatest need. I just don't understand how it's possible for the 47th president and the Republican Party to be this callous. The millions of people, the most vulnerable in American society, are going to be directly hit. These are invariably women with children. It's the children who are going to suffer. I just don't understand how that is possible. So I'm speaking to you as the Pan-Africanist in America. Give us a sense of how people are feeling now that they're aware that these programs are being cut or eliminated. They will not have that support, nutritional support. How are they responding, Steve? How are they responding?
By demonstrating, by holding protests, by calling on their elected representatives to meet with them, and they're refusing to meet with them. Chips, you see, once you understand international politics, you understand how what I call the international MFs, right? The IMF, right?
Yes.
The international MFs. When they come into your nation, what do? They say retrenchment.
Yes.
What is retrenchment? You have to cut back in services.
Yes.
That is what is being done in the US today
Wow.
by this administration. A cancer could only survive on its host.
Yes. Yes.
So now, when the IMF and the World Bank comes into your nation, they set grounds. They say, okay, you have to reduce civil servants.
Yes.
You have to reduce healthcare, reduce
Yes.
education.
Yes.
You have to cut back, and then you have to turn around and make these government entities. You have to privatize them, because once they privatize, they will save money.
Right.
Isn't that what you're asking about?
Well, if I may, these are the most vulnerable people, the poorest people in the United States of America, who needed that extra support to ensure, particularly mothers with young children, that they have sufficient nutrition and food just to live. But you are cutting money to those who are the most vulnerable, the lowest income, the most vulnerable people in what is the richest nation in the world. But yet you give an enormous tax cut to those who would least require a tax cut. And the average size of that tax cut in monetary terms is £309,000 per individual who fall in within that 1%, 0.1 of 1%. It just seemed so extremely banal, as is to leave me almost speechless. And I'm not a person who easily find himself in that position. Why we needed your insight as the Pan-Africanists in the US who are experiencing this firsthand to give us some insight as to the thinking of the American politicians and how, as we as Pan-Africanists, can advise them to do better. Sir, over to you.
I forgot which nation it is, but just recently, France pulled out of the next to last African nation that they've been in charge of, right? And I think it's recently. I have to look it up.
I think maybe the
But-
Ivory Coast.
but-
I vote Ivory Coast, I suspect.
I don't want to name the wrong place, but
Okay.
what happened is, look at, here's a perfect example. Haiti paid a big price for being the first nation in the Western Hemisphere to liberate itself from slavery.
Indeed.
What the French did was they told Haiti, since we are losing all this money because we could no longer make all these trillions of dollars off of slavery, you're going to pay us back.
Yes.
And they said, you're going to repair the harm you've done. So you, Haiti, will be paying us, the French, reparations money. And they did that for what?
Over 100 years.
That's what's being done in America.
Yes. Yes.
That is what is being done to the American population today.
Yes. Well said.
They are taking from the Robin Hood in reverse. They're taking from the poor.
Yes.
They're cutting back on all these essential services.
Yes.
And that money is being directed to people like Elon Musk.
Can you imagine?
One of the things that Elon Musk did when he was placed in charge of all our information,
Doge. Yes.
Right?
Doge. Yes.
Was to say, okay, he eliminated the regulatory bodies that was taking him to task.
That's right.
With investigations.
That's right.
And what did he do? He either drastically reduced those governmental bodies, or he eliminated them altogether so that he would no longer be investigated. His companies would no longer be scrutinized.
That's right.
And then what happens? He ends up getting a $200 million contract with the same government that was supposed to be investigating him. So he got rid of the overseer,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
now he's dining in the house of the massa.
A question for
While,
you here then.
while the people are out tilling
Yes.
the fields,
Yes.
they still continue to grow at the whip. And that
Can I just,
whip
I
that
did want to
used to
point
be
out to you,
lashed
Stephen, if I
on the
may.
back, the whip that used to be lashed on the backs of the African people during the enslavement
Yes.
is what is being done to the American population right now. But it's not a physical whip, it's a financial whip because they've taken away
Hold on
all
there.
of the
Hold on there. Hold on
benefits.
there. Okay. I just wanted to say this because it's really important to use the term, the correct term, the American people. Whilst you and I are African, not a problem. Okay. We can look at this and see the impact on all Americans, ordinary Americans, I should say, rather than the richest Americans. Okay? And we can say confidently, this is negative for the American peoples. After all, Elon Musk, he's got an annual income, actual income of more than $55 billion per annum. $55 billion is his annual income, and I suspect it's more than that, because that's what's simply been declared. Okay, but yet he's part of a government that is making these cuts. I'm going to quickly run through a few of them for you, just to give you some context. Okay, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, the cut is 646 million. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, $545 million cut. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is an incredibly important agency, I know, it's $491 million cut. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms, is $468 million cut. It's been taken away from ATF, and this, as you know, it's there to that cut greatly reduces its ability to crack down on firearm trafficking and reduce gun violence in the United States, which not be good for the United States. The Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, is being cut by $212 million. Okay, or the Bureau of Indian Affairs or Native American Affairs is being cut by $107 million. And that's just a few of the many I've got in front of me at the moment. These cuts are profound and they're deep, and they'll have long-lasting impact on American society. If I didn't know any better, Stephen, I would have said that the 47 presidents is gouging out America to create a hollow of its former self. Would that be a fair analysis?
That is what I said when I referred to a cancer survives on its host.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
once that individual dies, the cancer will eventually die.
Yes.
But while the person lives, that cancer will grow and multiply at the expense of the host, which is the human being.
Yes.
And that is what's going on because,
Yes.
Look, FEMA has seen a substantial reduction in both permanent employees and contractors,
Yes.
including those involved in climate resilience and
Yes.
disaster risk reduction. I'm so frustrated right now. Billions of dollars in grants for disaster preparedness and mitigation have been canceled or delayed,
Yes.
impacting state and local governments. The
Yes.
cuts have weakened FEMA's ability to coordinate disaster responses, provide timely assistance, and support long-term recovery efforts. What is long-term recovery effort?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about making sure that homes are replaced, making sure that that funding is giving to people, if even it's on low interest rates, so that they can actually have transportation to go to and from work.
Yes.
The administration has expressed a desire to shift more responsibility for disaster response to state and local governments, potentially creating a heavier burden on those entities. Brother Martin, let's say that you are making $1 million a year.
Indeed.
You're
Nice.
taxed on that $1 million. Let's say I'm making $100,000 a year. I am taxed on that 100,000, right? Let's say a disaster hits your home. You're making $1 million. You could probably have your home repaired in a reasonable amount of time, right?
Yes.
I'm only making 100,000. Wouldn't it take me at least 10 times the amount of time to get my home in? So now, if you have your taxes and my taxes combined, so that if a disaster hits either of us, we have a source whereby your taxes, my taxes, they say, okay, it's not as though they have to depend just on my taxes to fix my home. It's in a pool. So therefore, we'll be able to get better assistance to repair our homes.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
if I have to rely on my 100,000, won't it take me a longer time to get myself back on my feet as opposed to you who making $1 million, $1 million? And this is what he is saying: take it away from the federal government, take it away from the pool.
That's right.
And there's some states whereby New York and California are paying more in taxes to the federal government. So now they are able to service the other states that don't have their population, that don't have some of these states, their gross national product is probably the taxes of what New York or California might pay in taxes.
Right. Wow.
So now, if a disaster hits these smaller states, where are they going to get the money from in order to revitalize, to rebuild?
But I have to point out, Stephen,
money is no longer available.
But I have to point out the majority of those states you're referring to are red states, I note. I mean, I look at the map. They're red states. They're supposedly his supporters. Can I just quickly take you on to two other subjects very quickly? I see, of course, this bill effectively means that the funding of Planned Parenthood, okay, now, an organization that takes care of more than 1 million patients each year, it's risk closing, and it's likely now that more than 200 health centers across the nation are likely to close down. And therefore, effectively, through the back door, a national abortion ban is being brought in, even though the Supreme Court, through various legislation, prevented this. It's happening by the back door because of the federal funding. I've got to say I find that quite remarkable that he's been able to get away with that. But I'm also, if I may, also very conscious of the withdrawal support for young people and education. I have no idea what it is they have against young people from ordinary background becoming educated. Okay, and why it is they're attacking them continuously, withdrawing federal funding at every opportunity, and the biggest betrayal, according to when I read this bill, and I've checked this in 4 or 5 different sources, that student loan borrowers. This is the support that was given to student loan borrowers, loan deferment. Yeah. Now, if you suffer the loss of a job, okay, or other financial hardships, they should be protected from having to pay back the loan until they're back on their feet. But in fact, that support is being withdrawn as a result of this bill. So if you have a student debt of $100,000, let's say, gosh, yeah, and you are unemployed or some other financial, indeed, hardship, there is no deferment allowed. Can you imagine? Why would the 47th president, now I'm going to call his name now, Trump, conceive such a article within the bill? Why would it even be an article that you want to include? Why would you want to punish all Americans, regardless of ethnicity or religious affiliation? Why would he want to punish them in such a cold and callous way? Please, you're the Pan-Africanist in America. Give us some insights. Give us some insights.
I'm trying to find an explanation that will be satisfying to the audience. Brother Martin, if you listen to the rhetoric coming out from the White House,
Yeah.
it's always about criticizing President Obama.
Yes.
It's about criticizing President Biden.
Yes.
Everything that this administration is doing
It's great.
is anti-Obama,
Yes.
anti-Biden.
Yes.
For example, President Biden had passed an executive order, but it was debt forgiveness for college students.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
what that would do is basically say, okay, if you within a certain category,
Yes.
you don't have to pay back your college loans.
That's right. That's right.
That was killed by these people who are now killing education and are saying, well, you have to pay that money back.
How's that good for America, Stephen? How is that good for America? Take away college access for millions of children by limiting families' ability to access financial aid for college, including Pell Grants. How is that good for America?
Was it good for Africa? Was it good for India?
Yes, it was.
Was it good for China?
Yes.
Was it good for any of the nations that were so-called conquered?
Mm-hmm. No.
Like I keep saying, what the IMF and the World Bank did when they went into different nations,
Yes.
saying that this is the way that we will bring prosperity to your nation, by cutting this and cutting that and not providing this service and not providing healthcare, not providing education, the chickens have come home to roost, my brother.
Yes. Yes.
What they were doing to other nations is what this man is doing to America.
Americans, yes.
He is depriving them of an education. He's depriving them of health care. Yes. He's depriving them of affordable housing. The cost of living has increased under his administration, which was supposed to be, he was supposed to resolve that on day one, the same way he was supposed to end the war between Ukraine and Russia on day one.
Yes.
Everything was supposed to happen the first day that he took office. And the first day that he took office, he signed all kinds of executive orders that are devastating this nation.
Yes.
I saw a cartoon yesterday. You have ICE agents, right?
Yes.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement, right?
Thank you.
The immigration agents who are out there rounding up people, right? Regardless of your status, right? They just rounding people up. Sometimes they round up citizens, and then they have to go through a legal process, and then the legal process is not even being implemented. So now they've been told you have to arrest 3,000 people. I think it's a day.
Yes.
Right.
Can you imagine?
And who are these ICE agents? Are these the unemployed people that voted for him? And do they see themselves like they're cleaning up America? That they and now the cartoon was these ICE agents, these immigration officers out in the farm, And one of them said, while they bending over, like picking the strawberries and all these different, they're reaching up in the apple trees and picking the apples
Keep it
and
clean
stuff.
now.
And
Remember, this is a
and,
family show.
and one of them says, I should have seen this coming.
Yes.
So now
Yes.
the ICE agents, they deported all of the people who farmed the lands. Now they got to eat. So what do? Now they're going out and they're doing the laborious work of the people that they deported
That's
because
right.
their families now have to eat.
That's right. That's right. You said it well. That's well said. It is well said. This president is clearly harming America, unless, of course, he's relying upon Elon Musk and his robots to fill in for the jobs that human beings should do. Now, that would be interesting, and that's another discussion for another time. And I'm conscious of time now. So I'm going to ask you the Pan-Africanists in United States of America. Okay. What advice would you give to Pan-Africanists and indeed people of the world in relation to United States of America? What advice would you give us?
Let me answer by asking you a question.
Oh my gosh, all right. I'll make a politician of
Who,
you if you
who,
keep that up. Okay, call them.
who was the Pan-Africanist back in 1963 who was talking about the unification of the African continent? His first name starts with a P.
Oh,
His second
Patrice
name starts with
Lumumba.
a L.
Yeah, Patrice Lumumba. Yes.
And what was his philosophy at that time?
African unity.
And what does that spell?
What
One
does that spell?
government.
Oh,
One
forgive me.
government.
Absolutely. One government, one people. Yes,
One
absolutely.
military.
Integration across the continent. Yes.
One currency.
Yes.
Look at, you mentioned President Ibrahim Traore a while ago.
Absolutely.
What about what Mali is doing? What about what Niger is doing?
Indeed. Indeed.
Well, and you mentioned Ghana.
Yes.
Ghana is right on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
So now they could do international trade.
Yes.
Let's say they did what? Are you familiar with Lord Kitchener?
Yeah, indeed, I am. Yes.
I'm not talking about the Calypsonian.
Well said, but I am.
I'm,
I've
I'm not,
studied history, but I want to, if I may, I need to wrap up now. You see, so
yeah, but
I'm
I
trying
just
to
want to make this
ask
one
you for
point. I
that
just want to make this one
advice.
point.
Give us the
This is one point.
advice.
Well, here it is. Ghana does a rail link, or any of the nations that's on the coast, right? They have rail links, just like the New York City subway system,
Yes.
that will connect rail throughout the entire continent,
Indeed.
going from east, west, north, south, northeast, northwest, southeast. You have this rail link that connects, because with the rail, look at the amount of stuff that you could transport throughout, and it's going to be high speed,
Yes.
because the African country, you see, one of the reasons why you don't appreciate the size of the continent is because it's in the middle of the
Yes.
globe,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's like watching a man with a big belly as opposed to a man with a flat stomach,
Absolutely. Yes.
right?
Yes.
So because it's on the bulge, when you look at it on a flat surface,
It's
you
smaller.
can't appreciate the
Right.
size.
But actually,
Because when you blow
it's
a
much bigger.
balloon, it expands.
Yes.
So the continent, so people don't. So now here it is that you're connecting the oceans to the rail links. Now you have a means of transporting the goods to and from. You talk about trade.
Yes.
You talk
Yes.
about increased international trade that will be benefiting the inhabitants of the continent who are the
Absolutely.
African people.
Absolutely.
President Traore, for example, he got something like 2,000 tractors
Yes, that's right. Yes.
to do the
Slightly more, but
farming.
yes.
Look at what one tractor could do. How many people would you employ to get the same production out of one tractor? He has 2,000 tractors.
There you
He,
go.
he's they say it's about 1,000 pounds of
Mhm.
gold that is mined
Yes.
in Burkina Faso on a monthly basis,
Yep, that's
right?
right.
1,000. The price of gold is what? About
Absolutely.
$3,500 an ounce.
Tons. Yes.
So,
Yes.
so when and now that he is basically kicked out the French, not only is he mining the gold, he's refining the gold, he's producing it, so now it could be sold at the market, right?
Absolutely.
At
At an
market
enhanced
rates,
price.
right?
Yes.
Just talking about that. Look at what he's doing with farming. He's able. He basically put up a production facility so that now the farmers, the products that they harvest
Mm.
could now be processed and sold into either to neighboring states
Yes.
or exported internationally.
That's right.
So now that money stays there because everything is being done there.
So in other
So
words,
now
your
he's getting
advice,
to the
if I
profit.
may, if I just capture you here. So your advice is that if the future of the world is in Africa, invest in Africa.
But it always has been.
Well said. Well said. So would you want to join us? I'm going to put it on the screen. On the 26th of January next year to the 9th of February, the Motivator Show is taking 500 diasporans to Burkina Faso. Okay. And I'm encouraging, if you wish to join us, send a message through to us via this email address, which is thefutureisburkinafaso@outlook.com. All we need from you is simply your name. We need a telephone number, got your email address, of course, and of course where you are in the world, and we'll be in touch with you to make the arrangements. Okay. So at this stage,
Well,
we need to.
next time you hold on, my brother. Next time you want to put it up on the screen, make sure that the background is black,
Oh
because
yes.
with a
Okay.
different color, it's a
Oh
bit
yes. I've
difficult
got
to
it.
read,
I've got
right?
it. I've got it.
But,
I'll send it to you
so
directly.
that's
I
what
will send it to you directly. Don't you worry. But that's
wait a
a
minute,
very
wait a minute,
important step forward. Can I just ask
wait
you
a minute,
then,
hold on,
as we now
hold on.
close, as we now close?
Wait, you got to
Um,
give the website. You got to give the email address properly.
oh, you want me to
Because
give it
some people,
again? Oh, I'll give it to you again. Don't you worry.
some
I'll
people
give it to
don't
you
know how
again.
to
Don't you
spell
worry, my dear.
Burkina
Don't you worry,
Faso.
my dear. Don't you worry. There you go. There's the email address. The future is Burkina Faso at outlook.com. I say again, the email address, if you wish to accompany us and join the Demotivator Show in Burkina Faso, we'll meet dignitaries, important people. We travel across the country as guests of the land of the upright men between the 26th of January to the 9th of February 2026. It will be truly an inspirational experience. Okay. So the email address is thefutureisburkina Faso at outlook.com. More details
Now,
will be in the commentary
does
section.
that
Okay.
include entrepreneurs who could establish a business relationships with the
Absolutely.
government of Burkina Faso?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Anything's on the table. The future is Burkina Faso and Africa as a whole. Okay. Stephen, thank you. Thank you for providing those insights. We needed to hear from a Pan-Africanist in the United States of America on this bill, which will have long-lasting impact on America. Okay. And I still remain somewhat fearful for you guys. I have to tell you, I remain a little fearful for you guys, because this person is only in his first year. His first 7 months or so, 8 months in his first year. Yeah, if this could happen only in the first few months, can you imagine what's to come? I wonder. So we will have to keep a watching brief on American affairs because it will impact the entire world. Okay. What's your closing words for the people before we leave you? Be
Uh,
optimistic, though. I would like you to be optimistic, though.
the struggle continues.
Yes.
The Bible says faith without works is dead.
Yes.
So what you are the leaders, we are the leaders that we've been waiting on. We cannot
Indeed.
continue to sit back expecting someone from the sky to come down to save us.
Indeed.
We are
Indeed.
the ones that we've been waiting on.
King
We
Abala. Yes.
The Bible
Yes.
says this you are gods, for you
Mm.
are children of the Most High.
Praise
With
Jah.
God, all things are
Rastafari.
possible. So
Yes.
therefore, everything it's in our hands.
Mhm.
We cannot sit back and just moan and groan. We cannot just sit down or get up on our knees and pray. We've got to get up and do what needs to be done.
Yes.
The same way we get up every day and go out and earn a salary, we
Yes.
have to say, look, this is the future that we're talking about. We have a
Yes.
golden opportunity. We have people who did not care about us,
Mhm.
talking about people who lack melanin, who may
Indeed.
now say, I'm feeling
Indeed.
the impacts of what people with melanin have been going through. I can now identify with it. Let's basically unite, make sure that we have the same goal in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do what we have to do to make sure that is a change in this administration.
Yes.
Let's reach out to the progressive African nations. Let's reach out.
Yes.
Look at BRICS.
Yes.
BRICS is
I
laying
don't
down
get
the
too far now.
foundation.
Hold on. I don't get too far. I will keep focused. I think I think you've said it. I think you've said it. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Thank you. Because
Thank
this
you
has
for
been
having me.
a
Thank you
very
for having me.
useful insight. Been very useful insight. And thank you for that. We'll do it again in a
Thank you.
few months' time, because I suspect your number 47th would have engaged in some other activities that require us to have our dialogue. But thank you for getting up in the morning. I know it's in the middle of the night over there for you. Thank you for getting up and being with us and sharing your experience, your wisdom with us. Thank you. And give our love
Well,
and best wishes to your family.
I wish the same for you. And the thing is, you are the motivator.
Thank you.
Have a
I
good one.
try.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you. Okay.
Thanks, everybody, Martin.
Blessings to you. My
Bye.
blessings to you. There you go.
Thank you.
There you are. Now that was fantastic, wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't that fantastic? A sure indication is a sure indication that as we engage people in the United States, the level of understanding what needs to be done in order to transform the society is clearly apparent. And as King Kabbalah of the African Continental Unity Party said here on the Motivator Show, that we mustn't look for an individual and adopt a sort of messianic approach. We're all responsible for change. Each of us makes a small contribution and has a cumulative impact on the whole. And in doing so, we become equally responsible. And I appreciate some of the chat comment, and this is interesting. I see one in the chat says, socialism is an economic and political philosophy advocating for social ownership and democratic control of the means of production rather than private ownership. I've got to tell you, that looks very attractive compared to what they have in the United States. To have that much power concentrated in so few hands is a recipe for disaster. And that disaster is befalling us right now in the United States of America. The slow decline, and that decline is shows in the manner in which you pass policies that clearly have detrimental impact on the most vulnerable Americans, okay, and have no regard to that, but yet promote lightening the tax load of the richest Americans. I still find it mind-boggling that a political party could have voted for such a bill. Oh yeah, we need to talk. We need to talk. But just say before you go, if you haven't given us a thumbs up, we would appreciate a thumbs up. At least do that before you leave. And the bottom left hand, or indeed your right hand corner of the screen, you see a subscribe button. Press the subscribe. It's free. It simply helps us out here. Leave a comment. We want your comment, your feedback to the information shared today. I know it's been quite a lot of information, but it's necessary information. That's what's in the bill and will have profound impact on the largest economy in the world, United States of America. Economy with the largest military force, but yet doesn't have a national health service and relies upon private insurance companies subsidized by the state to deliver health care. It sounds crazy even when I say it out loud. That is clearly a recipe for a disaster. To take millions out of the insurance regime, so they have no insurance, no healthcare cover, is banal to the extreme, barbaric to the extreme. Whew. Anyway, I'm sure Americans, your feedback to us, and if we've got it wrong, I'd love to have got it wrong, then I welcome your correction. But I fear the thorough research we've had to do to prepare for the Motivated Show on this occasion is such that the information shared is robust, it stands up to scrutiny because it's actually in the bill. Read the bill and you see it for yourself. All righty, there you are. I hope you found this episode of The Motivated Show inspirational, useful, informative. Clearly, we've indicated Africa is where the next big boom is likely to take place. Yeah, investment opportunities in Africa is enormous. Okay, African countries are finally shaking off the shackles of the old colonial systems. Okay, I know the colonialists are still trying to put their claws in. Yeah, that's fine, but we know they are now, if we hadn't previously. And we're moving forward with intention. And together, we'll transform the world. If we can liberate Africa, we can liberate the world, make it a better place. So no government will engage in the practices as we've just seen in the 47 presidents of the United States of America. No vulnerable person will be denied the support that they need just to live, just to survive. I think it's barbaric, completely barbaric. But anyway, there you are, enough of that. But I hope you found this episode useful. Share the link with your family, your friends, and your networks. Just help us to get the numbers up. And together, we will continue to provide you with good quality presentations that stimulates your mind, gets you thinking, planning for the future, for your personal and family and network improvements. And working together, we find strengths. In unity is strengths. I want to thank you for your listening ears. But if in doubt, always ask questions. I say again, if in doubt, ask questions. If you don't ask the questions, you can't make a change, yeah? You've got to ask questions. Don't be shy to ask a question. But I have to say, though, having gone through this experience with this particular podcast, I'm not sure that I'm feeling happy, because there are tens of millions of Americans who are not happy, okay? Who are living lives that I would not wish on my enemies. I wouldn't. Not even my enemies. So each of us have a duty to give support to the Americans because they need us. I know they've got incredible wealth there, but they've got some really, well, politicians who clearly need to, they need to take a rain check, a reality check. That's all I'm just saying. So this is the Motivator Show. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. Until the next strong, I am the Motivator. Trump versus Pan-African Americans' logic. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. It's horrible. The plan for the ultra-rich. Starting in 2029, those making $30,000 a year or less would see a tax increase, while the top 0.1% would get a $309,000 tax cut. On average, an annual tax break that is more than 3 times what the average American household earns in an entire year. The tax cut for the ultra-rich is permanent. Tax cuts for the ultra-rich, including the extensions and new provisions, will cost the American economy $2.7 trillion over a 10-year period. That ordinary Americans will ultimately pay the price for the ultra-rich. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors, for example, puts 686,000 Californian jobs at risk through the elimination of the Inflation Reduction Act clean energy tax credits. North America's building trade union, the NABTU, says that if enacted, this stands to be the biggest job-killing bill in the history of the United States of America. Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors. Roughly 17 million Americans will lose coverage and become uninsured by 2034 due to various Medicaid reduction and exclusions of enhanced premium subsidies. Cuts to food assistance for more than 3 million Americans in need of quality nutrition and food. It also establishes a tax hike for parents who pay for childcare. The big beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big beautiful bill of horrors significantly cuts critical family support programs, more than $28.4 billion slashed in federal Medicaid funding to California alone, increasing medical debt and jeopardizing health care providers' ability to keep their doors open. More than 11 million newly uninsured for health care nationally as a result of the big, beautiful bill of horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.
Trump's big, beautiful bill of horrors unjustly targets American students, takes away college access for millions of children by limiting families' ability to access financial aid for college, including Pell Grants, betrays student loan borrowers by ending student loan deferment for borrowers who experience job loss or other financial hardships, and forbids any future student loan forgiveness programs. The Bill of Horrors. The Bill of Horrors. The big, beautiful bill is leaking. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Enough. I will not deport my wife. She is my family.